Good evening, friends. Stephen Benoon here with Israeli News Live. And this is just a little brief excerpt I wanted to be able to share with you guys what's going on over in Israel right now. Excuse me. First off, let me just say these two women right here, two elderly women, Al Jazeera reporting, that have been released. They are back in Israeli custody as far as I'm aware of. It is 4 a.m. in the morning, Israel time, and right now there was some efforts. These were the two women they were trying to release on humanitarian grounds just yesterday, and Israel originally would not accept receiving these two hostages that were being held there. They were released. Hamas, of course, continues to assert that they're not hostages; they're only guests. Which, let's face it, they're hostages. They're not guests. But nonetheless, Israel has delayed its ground invasion. Some people are, I think even Hal Lindsey was reporting that Israel I think he reported that they had already started a ground incursion into Gaza, but that is not the case. Israel is holding off on doing this incursion, mainly because Israel is waiting for U.S. backup forces that are on their way to the Middle East there. I did meet with military officer just recently on the U.S. side there to try to get an idea of what's going on from the U.S. perspective. I had different things, excuse me, coming out. Got a little bit of a cold issue here, having a hard time getting my throat to clear. I apologize about that. But anyway, that the U.S. is actually has been working on getting more troops, and I'm talking about troops, over into the Middle East there. The U.S. also sending more weapons, more bombs, more of everything because of the situation over in the Middle East there. By the way, the report you're looking at on your screen right now, this reporter here for Al Jazeera was down in Eilat. A lot of families have been moved to the hotels down there, trying to get away from the war there. The northern end of Israel, Hezbollah, there is ongoing clashes back and forth between the Israeli military and that of the Hezbollah fighting wing there. And Hezbollah is very well armed. It is concerning for Israel to try to have to take on Gaza as well as Hezbollah at the same time. In the meeting that I had yesterday, is kind of like an impromptu type of meeting there, but I did find out, though, that right around mid-November, the U.S. will have its forces over in the Middle East. They will be deploying there sometime in the third part of the month, next month there, going in November, already deploying even now. We've already moved some troop assets there. I was told that the United States really is going because of Iran. And even though we know that Iran will not directly engage with Israel to start with, they will be using their proxy fighters on the ground. And but it will be Iran that is supplying them with the weapons. In fact, I was also told that what the Houthi rebels sent in came from Iran, which we already knew that. It was 2 cruise missiles and 20 drones. 20 drones headed to Israel from the Houthi-held region there in the south. But so the thing is, it's just a matter of time before we see the situation going to escalate. And it is believed that, yes, the U.S. and Israel are going to try to confront Iran at that time. But you got to remember, though, China, as I had mentioned to you before, already moving their own assets into the region there in the Middle East there. China does have fighting forces in Iraq. They've had them there for some time, even into Syria. But now they are moving closer and closer because Iran and Russia, planning on trying to keep the U.S. at bay when this all breaks out, once it actually does. And some of the other information that I am getting is that Israel is very much aware that they're going to have to fight a multiple front war, including with Hezbollah. And I think this is one of the reasons why Israel is waiting on the ground operation in Gaza, because they know that If they get bogged down there, Hezbollah starts its attack on the northern border. Israel just doesn't have the capability for that large scale of a battle, especially with Hezbollah so much better armed and equipped, not just by Iran, but by all the weapons that the United States sent into Ukraine that ended up getting sold on the black market. Turkey buying a lot of those weapons, Iran as well, even al-Nusra, Al-Qaeda, all these different factions, even ISIS, getting a hold of these weapons there that have ended up also in the hands of Hezbollah that will be used over on the border there with Israel. So these weapons here, very capable, very, very formidable type of weapons. And those weapons, of course, in the hands of Hezbollah will give Israel a much more difficult time. In fact, there have been reports that Hezbollah has been using U.S.-made anti-tank missiles on Israeli tanks in the northern part of the border there. So very serious situation. And of course, Israel has not stopped the bombardment on the bombing in Gaza at all. They've not let up, not even for a moment, it seems. In fact, last night they said was the worst night ever for the amount of bombing that is there. You know, it's kind of bothered me a little bit as well, because I know that Biden was talking about sending aid for the civilians of Gaza because of this conflict. And yet at the same time, he's sending so many billions of dollars for more bombs, sending those to Israel as well. You know, and I couldn't help but think to myself, you know, it's kind of like the hunters that take and put a feeder out for the deer that they're going to hunt. They put the corn out there, sprinkle the corn around, wait for the deer to come out, and then they shoot them. You know, it's like a cowardly act, in my opinion there. You know, the poor deer don't even have a chance when you do something like that. But, and I'm not here to necessarily be critical against hunters, but the point being is that something of that nature there is pretty cowardly, because you're just baiting the poor animal to get him out there to shoot him. And I kind of felt like the same thing when Biden talks about, oh, we're going to send aid for the people of Gaza, but we're going to send bombs for Israel. They get a little food, we'll give Israel the bombs to go drop on them. That just seems really twisted. You know, really twisted. Why be hypocritical? You know, one or the other. Anyway, there's a lot to be said about this conflict. I am working on a special broadcast in the Dead Sea Scrolls, doing a lot of research on this. I knew, and Rabbi Ariel Sadak has put out a recent video. He is talking about there's going to be these Nephilim that are going to be coming up fighting on Israel's behalf, according to him. It's going to get crazy, guys. It really is. And I'd already heard those type things anyway, but it's about to get really crazy. And I don't know when this is supposed to happen, but nonetheless, I am doing some research on it, because there are indications inside the Dead Sea Scrolls that may actually support that idea, but they're not saviors. They won't be saviors. It'll be very demonic from what I can tell. Anyway, I'm Stephen Benoon. You're watching Israeli News Live. Good evening.